Sorry about that. Can you guys hear me now? I think there was my something disconnected. Sorry about that. I think something disconnected on my computer. Don't know what happened there. Hi guys, it's Any, aka the Noctrader, your friendly neighborhood swing trader, back again with another video. Remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that alert button to get alerts on all my latest videos. I've got Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the Noctrader on all social media platforms. And if you check that description section below, you see a link to my mailing list and my Discord chat room called Pit Talks for like-minded traders and investors to talk about anything and everything to do with trading and investing. That's good to hear that you can hear me now. Sorry about that. There was a little bit of technical difficulties, but now we're up and running. So before I get started, you know what I'm going to start with? I'm going to start with my new routine now is to start with the AAII report. So I'm going to give you a little. So last week I spoke about the AAII report, and that report is all about what sentiment is like. So sentiment for retail investors, so not institutional investors, retail investors. And you know what they say about retail investors and traders? Well, not investors, traders. So the AAI is American Association of Individual Investors. You know what they say about individual traders? 90% of them lose money. So I'm always inversely correlated to whatever they say here. They're still quite bearish, obviously a little bit less than last week. So that's good for me, because whenever these guys are bearish, I'm bullish, because I do what the opposite of them. What's up, Demola? What's up, Matt? What's up, Alan? All right. So on to the next step, FinViz. Let's get a look at the macro level heat map of what was going on the last week or so. I like to see just a broad stroke heat map to see, let me know how the market was moving last week. So on a weekly basis, last week the market was up quite a bit actually. The Dow Jones up 1.6%, S&P 1.3, Nasdaq 1.008, and Russell Group 2.0. And of course the VIX index was down, because when the equities markets are up, VIX down, because it inversely correlated to the equities market. And DAX was up as well. Now there was a little bit of these indices could have been up a little bit more, but you know, there was some news that came out last week, mid last week, that actually sent the markets selling off a little bit. But I'll go into that a little bit. Actually, I'll go into that now. It's good to give you some context. So Trump's the Supreme Court says New York's prosecutors can see records. So what happens is that Trump has been trying to stop the Supreme Courts from looking into his tax records, because they'll probably find some dodgy stuff going on there, implicating him to having a relationship with Russia, and in effect being if he's tied in with Russia, then he's compromised, and that could look bad for him. Now Trump was pretty much on track to win the next election by a landslide before COVID came in. And since COVID, his approval rating has been a bit shaky, and this is going to make things even more shaky if they find out that he's been colluding with Russia. Because so forget about that. What does that mean for the markets? Well, Trump is good for the stock markets, because all he cares about is pumping the stock markets. All he cares about, he ties his success to how good the stock market is doing. So he's doing anything in his power to make the stock markets keep going up. So when news comes out that could potentially have an adverse effect on his chances to get re-election, the market goes down, because it looks like, okay, our guy that's going to keep pumping the markets might not win next time. So therefore market sells off when any news comes out that could be detrimental to Trump's re-election, if that makes sense. So when this news came out, market started selling off a little bit. So I just thought I'd give you a little bit of context, because now we're going to look into the charts, and if we look into the charts, there's a sell-off, and I want you to understand why. So first one I'm going to look at is DAX. Actually, before I look at DAX, one last thing we need to look at, you know, got to keep it going, economic calendar. What's going on in the economic calendar for the next week? Because that can dictate some of the trades that are made, especially on the Forex market. So we always get into a routine of looking at the heat map, looking at the economic calendar, and looking at whatever relevant news that week. All right, man. EURJPY, I get it, man. I get it. Okay, I'll start with DAX, then I'll do EURJPY. Okay, I'll start with DAX first, because I want to start with DAX just because I gave a little bit of background on why the DAX fell. So I'll start with DAX, then I'll do EURJPY. Don't worry, man. Yeah. So next week, all the highs. I only look at the highs because they're the ones that are most likely to be impacting. There's lots of reports that come out that are not really that relevant, but the high ones are normally the ones that could potentially move the market. So that's this week. looking for next week. So next week, quite a lot of information coming out next week, especially in the US. On the 14th, which is Tuesday, some information comes out from the claim account. UK got inflation information. Bank of Canada rate decision. That's very important. That's very important. Hopefully, if it stays the same, then nothing will really happen. But I've got an alert there. There's employment figures from Australia. That's important as well. US jobless claims information. So yeah, this is all the information. I've highlighted the ones that I think are important. But anyway, let's get into the charts, guys. Okay, so DAX. Let me start with DAX. I'll get into EURJPY. Don't worry. But so with DAX, first things first. DAX. Let's get this up. Let me get the MACD up as well. Where's the MACD? Uh-oh. All right, I'll get the MACD up later. I ain't got time to be doing this now. Let me see. That's not the MACD. All right, I'll do that later. I ain't got time for that now. So with the DAX, DAX right now is looking kind of mad. So it's been trending up for quite some time, and then it started selling off. And as I said, some of this sell-off was due to that Trump news, but also it was just a retracement. It was trying to get out the weak hands of the market. So I still think it's going to 13K, as I said, and this kind of buttress my point. This actually makes me even more confident it's going to go to 13K, because right now this looks like a bear flag. No, bull flag. So for anyone who knows about technical analysis, bull flag looks something like this. Looks something like this. It's like a descending channel, and then it breaks out to the upside. Now it's already broken out on Friday, so what I'm waiting for is probably a retracement back to the line, because I don't want to catch a long when it's overextended. I always like to get optimal position when I'm in a long, retrace back to the line, and then climb up to 13K. So I'm gonna wait for this to retrace back, and I'll probably want to catch it here to get a long, set my stop loss around here, and then just let it ride all the way to 13K. I think it'll probably go past 13K, because with bull flags, you can normally measure how high it goes based on how high it came into it. So it could potentially even go like from here to here. Oh, overdone. So from here to here, it could potentially go from here to here, and then I'd move that, copy that here, and here to here. So that could potentially be a profit zone here. So I'll draw a square here, but I'm going to be conservative and go to 13K. It could probably go further than that. So that would be a good take profit zone. But me, I'm gonna make my take profit zone here, because I'm just conservative like that. But yeah, so that's how I see the bull flag playing out for DAX. And as we know, all the indices are correlated. So if DAX does one thing, then a lot of times all the other indices are kind of doing the same thing. And also, if you look at the RSI, it was making a support line here. So, and it's broken out of the support line. It was ricocheting off the support line, and then started climbing up. And I've been plotting supports and resistances on the RSI for quite some time, and it's been pretty much staying true to these 4-hour supports and resistances. So now that it's bounced off of here, I can see it just climbing 13K, and obviously once it gets to 13K, it might have to do a little bit of retesting before it wants to break through, because this is an old resistance that's been held for quite some time. Old support, new resistance. So it will have to do quite a lot to break through 13K, but I'm confident it'll go to 13K. I'm semi-confident it's gonna go past 13K up to about 13,100. So yeah, that's what I think for the DAX. And as always, DAX, FTSE, all those ones, they all kind of, well, apart from FTSE, because FTSE's kind of crap. Look at the FTSE. FTSE's just, I don't know what it's doing over there. But anyway, ignore that. So I'm going to go to EURJPY just because Alan's been asking for it, but then I'll go back to my regularly scheduled programming. I actually had EURJPY on my list here, so I was actually going to get to that like number 3, but you know what I hear? Oh, where would I enter? I kind of told you where I'd enter. Maybe there's a little bit of a time lag. With the DAX, I would probably, the way I'd play is that I would let it climb probably retrace back down to this line and then go through there and then potentially go there. So then I would enter maybe around here if it goes down there, and then I'd enter my long there and then set my stop loss. Like, I give it a lot of room. So my stop loss would be around, let me draw a red line for my stop loss. My stop loss would be around here, because I want to give it a little bit of room to potentially break the support line, because it might come a little bit underneath it. That, just because it has a support resistance doesn't mean it's going to cleanly kiss it. So I always give it a little bit of room to breathe, so that it can break through it but still come back up again. Because I've been in positions where I got too tight with my stop loss and then it just hit my stop loss, only just then to climb again, and I don't want that situation. So I don't mind giving a little bit more room and then taking a little bit more risk on, just so that it has room to kind of like give it a false breakout to the downside before climbing up again. So I think that makes sense. So I'd say the short answer is about 12640, something like that. Yeah, thereabouts. But yeah, so that's how I want to play it. So EURJPY. So straight away, I've already got my lines plotted for EURJPY. Right now, this looks like a descending channel pattern. Now I've seen this play out before in quite a few ways, and normally with ascending channel patterns, actually let me show you. Ascending channel patterns, you know, I play with these a lot. I make a lot of money with ascending channel patterns, and the way they behave is pretty much like this. They go like that. Price will come through here, will climb, break out, come up, retest. Normally it retests about twice. Sometimes it'll retest it twice and then sell off. And this, normally what happens is that this distance, the distance that it sells off, is the same as this distance here. So once again, good evening, Ewan. What's up, man? Once again, I get my ruler tool and I clock. Okay, so this is that distance. Then I copy and paste it, and it'll probably go even further. But once again, I'm conservative. I'm pretty reserved. I don't want to try and see it be too greedy, so I set my take profit around here, because that's kind of similar to where the previous support is here. Now, not only there's quite a lot of confluence on this chart, because not only is there ascending channel pattern, there is, if you go to the wider chart, let me delete all of this. If you go to the wider chart, so if you zoom out a little bit, you see this previous peak here. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete that also. If you see this previous peak here, if you do a Fibonacci retracement, is it retracement or extension? I always get them mixed up. Expansion, yeah. From there to there and back, that is a 50% level. And we all know 50% level at Fibonacci is very important, because a lot of times if it breaks through the 50%, then normally sometimes it will probably just carry on climbing. But if it holds at the 50% then sells off, that means that was just like a retracement. It's still going to carry on selling off. So the fact that it triple topped at the 50% fib level and then started selling off tells me that it's still pretty bearish. So I'm pretty confident in shorting it. What's up, Livette? Thanks for joining. So I'm pretty bearish. So that's why I'm pretty confident in a short. And not only is this the 50% Fibonacci level, look here. Where it looks like it's going to retrace from is also the 61.8 level. So there's lots of confluence. Can you see that? Lots of different things all telling me the same thing, which is lovely, which gives me more confidence in this short. So there's Fibonacci levels that has been respected. I think it's going to go to this fib level, then sell off. Maybe double top before selling off. I don't know, but either way, I want to take a short around here and then sell it all the way down to this level. And also you got the pivots. Now I've only recently started using pivots more, but even at the pivot is also near the 61 level. So a key level for pivoting is at the 61 level. So all these different indicators are all telling me the same thing, which is why I'm confident in shorting EURJPY. And I want to hold it in like a swing trade. So I want to hold it and then I want to ride it down to here, but I'll probably use a trailing stop loss. Hey Cyril, what's up, man? Good evening, everyone. First time. Oh, thanks for joining, Cyril. So yeah, I'm really confident in a short for EURJPY. That's the short answer of it. Moving on, I'm going to go into EURGBP pound. So this is the inverse of the EURJPY. This is a descending wedge. So if an ascending wedge, see now once you start identifying chart patterns, you know how they're going to react. If an ascending wedge is selling off, a descending wedge is, yeah, I'm guessing you got it right. There's a time lag. So a descending wedge is gonna climb. So right now, same as the other chart, the opposite way around. I'm gonna go long on this. I'm gonna go long on this because it's a descending wedge. So what I'm doing is that, but then before you get too giddy, what I've done is that I zoomed in a little bit, and there's more chart patterns within the lower chart frames. Look at the RSI; it's making like almost like a converging wedge, and it looks like it's going to break out to the upside. Yeah, thanks, Alan. So it looks like it's going to break out to the upside, which is and then also, can you see here? There was like almost like a little triangle pattern forming within the descending wedge. So I did want to preempt my long. Now, I could have taken a long here, but I was just being a little bit conservative again. So I want to wait. I've waited. Actually, I should have set an alert here. I'm going to set an alert on this line. And when it breaks, so I drew this line before this actually even happened. But I'm gonna delete it now because it's already happened. So what I'm waiting for is for it to break through this, which will probably do once the market opens in a couple of hours. And I want to this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let it break through. Use my yellow line. I'm gonna let it break through, and at that point I'm gonna take a long. I'm gonna take a long straight away when it breaks through, and I want to set my stop loss. Once again, you got to be really conservative because you never know if it's gonna retrace back. I'm gonna set my stop loss around here. So then what I expected to happen is a couple of things. There's a couple of ways it could behave. It could break through, retrace back down to this line, come to this line, and then maybe it wants to retest this line again. So what I'll do is that I'll probably want to take a long and close out my position here, and then wait for it to break out here, and then take another long here, if that makes sense. Because there's two patterns you're playing with now. You don't want to be caught on this assuming it's going to break out this time, because it might want to retest the support again before climbing. So you got to be a little bit conservative, and I'd probably take a long here, take my profit here, see what happens here. So let me delete this. You guys understand what I'm saying, right? I hope so if it looks like it's going to sell off, take out my profit. If it looks like it's going to break through, I'll still take my profit, wait for it to break through, because at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with getting a little bit late, and then because if it breaks through, it's probably going to retest this line again before climbing. So I would just let it break through, let it retest, and then enter the long again here. So there's two trades you can make. You can make a trade going to this line, and then you can make a trade going to this line. But what you don't want to do is that get too cocky and then try and take the shorts as well, because you don't want to be trading against the flow of traffic. If the overall move is up, don't try and scalp the shorts. Well, you can if you're experienced, because I've done it sometimes, but it just makes more sense to take the long, because even if you enter the long at the wrong time, you can be pretty confident that it's going to come back in your favor. But if you enter a short maybe two, let's say you enter the short here and it starts coming against you, then you start losing money. So you're better off just only taking the longs, because the overall movement is up. So that's why I'm taking a long on this one. Remember, they're basically just inverses of each other. So they're basically just inverses of each other. These two charts, the way they're behaving. So it's easy to identify how to play it. Next up is, if you got any anything that you want me to break down, let me know in the chat. By the way, guys, I do this every week, and I want to, after this video ends, I'm going to put the link up to next week's one. Set a reminder on it so that you can be informed when I'm doing it. I'm going to try and do it 7 o'clock every Sunday on a weekly basis, and it'll be great to have you guys here so that I'm not talking to myself. But yeah, I'm gonna put the link up for the next week's one straight after this one, so you guys can set a reminder on. And also remember to subscribe. I don't know if you all subscribed, but please like and subscribe. I'm trying to get my numbers up. But yeah, so Euro USD, and also leave a like on this video if you found it useful. Hopefully you guys find it useful. I'll give you a recap of how these stocks perform as I play out. A lot of these traders on YouTube, they show you the trades after the fact, but I'm telling you what I'm gonna do for the next week. So hopefully you have a bit more confidence in my abilities, and if I mess up, then you'll know that I messed up, because I told you what I'm about to do. So the Euro US dollar, that's the next one. Now there's a lot of crazy lines plotted on here, so I want to delete some of them because I don't want. So I actually took a trade on this already, and I took two pretty good trades on this. So actually, let me show you them. I'm really proud of myself. This yellow line I drew like last week, and I took this long here, and then I also took a long here. So and yeah, smash that like button. You got it, Matt. So let me show you actually. let me show you the 2 trades I took on US dollar last week and just the progress of it. So this is my Twitter. You guys follow me on Twitter. I also post my technical analysis breakdowns here as well. I actually post them there before anywhere else. So if you want to be up to date, like quickly on what I'm going to trade before I even make these videos, then follow me on Twitter. So yeah, where was it? I'll show you the process of my US dollar trades. Where is it? Yeah, so here's it. Timestamps and everything. Okay, so July 8th. No, that's it. Where's the first one? Yeah, okay, so July 6th. Mapped out. I said, okay, it's going to climb. It's going to hit this line here at that 11350 about, and it's going to sell off and climb again. July 7th. Hit it exactly to the point, retrace back down exactly to the point. July 8th again, I identified another like triangle pattern within the pattern, so I waited, took a long here, and then said it's going to retest this line here. July 8th again, bang, second trade, retested. Bob's your uncle. So yeah. So, what trading platform do I use? Yeah, Pro Real Time via IG. I've made a video about it. If you search actually, can someone put the link in the chat to my my Pro Real Time setup video? I've made a video on how to set up Pro Real Time. If you search search Pro Real Time Noctrader. If you search Pro Real Time Noctrader on YouTube, you'll see I've got 3 videos that explain you how to set up Pro Real Time. Yeah, so this is how I played it out. So in the short time frame, what I saw was that there was like this resistance line here, and it kept trying to break through, but it couldn't. And I saw that if it broke, it was going to break through here. So I took a long here, and I identified that this previous high was probably where I was going to retrace back from. So I took a long, and then I exit my position here. Now when it sold off, I thought, okay, it's bouncing off, because you know what it does here with those type of lines. I'll show you. I'll draw it rather than say it. Whenever you see like a resistance line like that, and price has been just retesting it, and then finally breaks through, it'll sell off and then it'll climb again. So kind of like what I said before, I took the long here, waited to retrace back, and then took another long here. So it was kind of like what I was talking about before. So you can make double the profits off of one trade just by identifying where it's going to sell off. So once it sold off, what I did was I went down to a lower time frame, and then what I saw was that there was actually another resistance line here. So I had to wait for that resistance line to get broken, and the minute it got broken, I took another long, and it climbed all the way up here. Now it's actually retested this line one more time. So what I saw on Euro USD is actually quite interesting. I had to go now into the weekly charts, because yeah, thanks. Posted the link, but it hasn't shown. Okay, oh yeah, thanks, Ewan. I'll post it afterwards. Maybe I don't wanna go through the video and waste time like posting links while we're in the flow of technical analysis, but thanks for posting it. So if you look at the weekly chart, you can see here there's this major resistance line here that dates back all the way to 2008. It's been retested several times, and it looks like it's about to retest it again. So that's one thing to note. It's retesting it. It looks like it's about to retest so that's one sign that this could potentially be another long. Now you go down to the daily chart. This, to the untrained eye, just looks like gibberish. To me, it looks, oh yeah, to me it looks like a cup and handle. So a cup and handle. Let me show you what a cup and handle looks like. I've got this up here. So this looks like a cup and handle. Now this is a cup and handle formation. It kind of sells off, makes a little bowl, then makes it like a mini version of the previous bowl. This is called the neckline, and then once it breaks out, it climbs up. Now the good thing about a cup and handle is that the distance between the base of the cup and the peak of like the neck of the cup is the exact same distance as the neck of the cup to where your take profit is. Now armed with that information now, what I do is that the way to know where you could potentially take your profits is get the ruler tool out again and go from here to here and then move it. So in theory, this could break out all the way up to like nearly 12k. Once again, I'm conservative. Even though technical analysis theory says that that should be your take profit, I'm not going to risk it. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to set my take profit to where that resistance line is on the weekly chart. So that is where that little box is. That box, that square box that I posted, is the resistance line on the weekly chart. Because I don't know if it's going to break out through it. It might just carry on. It might hit it and sell off again. And I don't want to get caught on the wrong side of the trade. So I'd rather just take a long to that line and then just take my profits there. If it breaks through, it breaks through, whatever. I don't care. Now, another thing to notice is another Fibonacci level. So actually, another thing to notice is that if you press this button here is called the what's it called? It's kind of like, it's the oblique tool. So what it does is that it's like almost like training wheels for pro real time. It plots lines for you to show you like lines that you might not have noticed. Now what I noticed was that there's this red line here, and that also kind of intersects with the area to take profit zone, which is also the weekly resistance line. So there's all these different lines all converging in the same place. So I actually plotted that line again using the oblique tool, and what I found was that this line is a support here, resistance here, and also intersects with this line here. So that's cool. Another thing I noticed is if you do a Fibonacci retracement from here to here, the 50% level also intersects with this level. You see what I'm saying? When you use confluence is all about using several different strategies that all tell you the same thing. If several different strategies tell you the same thing, you can confidently enter a trade. I've shown you weekly chart tells you that's a resistance line. Fibonacci tells you that's a retracement level. Cup and handle tells you it's going to climb up to there. 3 different strategies telling you all the same thing, which is why I'm confident in taking a long on this euro US dollar. So my thought process is that I want to time my entry so I get the best potential entry. So I personally think, let me delete these lines first of all, so they're not relevant no more. I personally think the best way to play this would probably just straight up take the long. I know it might retrace again, but I haven't got time to really guess where it's going to pull back. So it could potentially pull back, I don't know. So I'm just gonna, because I'm looking at it from a macro level, and there's lots of money to be made because the take profit zone is pretty much like there. But the thing is, it might take some time. This could be weeks in the making to get to where it is. So you don't know how long it's going to take, because with Forex it could take days, it could take weeks, whatever. So but you have to just be patient with it. So what I'm going to do is that I'd potentially just take the long here, and then set my stop loss maybe just below this line, because I feel like if it breaks this resistance line here, then it's a breaker pattern, and then the pattern's not valid anymore. So I'd probably set my stop loss around here. The good thing about pro real time is that I don't need to set a horizontal stop loss. I could potentially set a stop loss that's like parallel to this line. So you can use this tool here to set a stop loss like this. So the stop loss could be like here, so it's parallel to that line. So that's what I would do if I actually was in this trade right now. But I'm gonna take a long and set a stop loss like something like that. But yeah, so that's how I'm gonna play it. I think it's gonna climb, and I think the take profit is about 11590, something like that. And that's the reason behind my the long that I'm taking. So yeah, I covered the DAX, covered EURGBP pound, covered EURJPY. Is there any other stocks that you guys wanted me to cover? I think someone in the chat. Also, I got a Discord chat room. Got a chat room called Discord. What am I talking about? I got a chat room called Pip Talk. Sorry, with a lot of like-minded traders. I think we got about, how many people we got in there? Got 40 people live right now, and we got 600 people in the chat room. People always just sharing ideas. There's some great traders on there. Stacks, this is another great trader. This guy's 17 and he's smashing it. Got some great guys on there. So follow them, and follow them on Twitter, and also he'll probably give you his Twitter if he sees it. There's lots of great guys on here giving their ideas. So someone asked me to break down what's it? Where is it? He asked me to break down. What's the chart? GBP USD. So I'm gonna break that down and then we'll close it out because we're a little bit, we're at the 30-minute mark now. I got bad memory. What did I just say? GBP USD. Okay, so great. GBP USD. Remember the days when I was like, I'm never trading Forex. Look at me now. But Forex seems to be pretty good. I like it. So I think the move has been made for the most part, because look at me. I got that wrong, but I wasn't confident in that trade. That's why I didn't take the short. Sometimes you get it wrong, yeah. So that's why I like drawing these lines, just to show what I thought at the time. Yeah, so I just put a note in there here actually. I actually put a note for myself. I said GBP USD dropped last time COVID cases spiked. So right now we're at a key resistance line here. So this looks like a good level to either short or go long. Well, obviously that's the only two things you can do. How do you join the chat, Lily? In the description section of this video, there's a link to the Discord group. Click on it, enter the chat, it's free, join, all that stuff. And then there's two channels. There's the investment channel for people that want to talk about investment, and then there's your trading channel where you can talk about trading. It's in that chat there, in the link. So there's two things that could happen. You could break out. I always map out multiple scenarios when I'm not sure what's going to happen. So it needs to, I want it to actually touch this line first. I think it's got close to it, but I would want to wait for it to touch this line, and then maybe a sell-off could happen, and then retest this kind of demand zone here, or break out, go like that. And I'm not sure about if it's going to break out to the upside, because it's a weird one, because the pound is really weak and the dollar is really weak. That's why I wouldn't trade this one. There's other indices that you could trade, and I wouldn't want to be exposed to the pound. Yeah, at least that's how it seems to me big enough. Yeah, well, Forex, I don't know. I think they both work, because I've been trading stocks pretty well with technical analysis and Forex. Obviously, you need to understand fundamentals. I feel like I used to be a purist about technical analysis. Ewan just said, I think Forex suits traders that like technical analysis more than fundamentals. I like technical analysis more than fundamentals, and I used to be a purist. I used to not even look at fundamentals, but I realized you have to some extent. You can't get away from the fact that news drives the market sometimes, and if you're ignorant to that, then you might just see random spikes that break your pattern and you don't know why. So I've had to learn to really just get over myself and keep track with the fundamentals, and I think it matters both for Forex and indices, to be fair. But Forex, I think, is a little less a little harder to manipulate, because it's just the amount of liquidity in the market, as opposed to indices or stocks, where a little bit more manipulation can happen. But yes, apples and oranges. I think we'll find out, because I'm still a baby in this Forex game, but I've been doing well so far. So yeah, one of these two things can happen. Which one happen, I don't know. So what I'm gonna do for this one, I'd set an alert on this line, and once it hits it, I'll just wait for something to happen, wait for it to break out, wait for it to sell off. And once it starts, it makes a decision what it's going to do. Then you could potentially take a short or take a long. Personally, I wouldn't trade GBP US dollar, because I've already got a trade that I'm more confident in about on the GBP, and I don't want. There's no point trading two indices or that kind of correlated. Or you got Euro US dollar. This would probably, and you got Euro US dollar. So I wouldn't trade Euro US dollar and GB US dollar, because then it's like you're trading US dollar twice, if that makes sense. I'll just pick one out of the two, and I'm more confident in this one based off of my analysis. I hope that made sense, guys. Like, subscribe, all that stuff, blah blah blah, YouTuber, whatever. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Actually, let me plug my Twitter quickly, and my Instagram. I plugged my Twitter. That's my Twitter, where I give all my technical analysis breakdowns. And then I've got my, see, little price action. That's DAX, always with the great technical analysis. And then I've got my Instagram, where I just post previews to the videos that I'm coming up, and also just post about I post charts, funny stuff, and also just posting a little informational infographics on trading and investing. So yeah, follow me on Insta as well. I actually make all these images myself. It takes me a bit of time. So yeah, so don't fight the Feds, quantitative easing, some little infographics, ask the right questions. Got a little Kanye West here, houseway. So yeah. Also ask the right questions, guys. Don't ask me right question. Is Tesla bullish based on my analysis? Show me your analysis and then we can discuss. Don't go, what stock should I buy? Because, you know, I'm not a financial advisor. But yeah, that's a story for another day. Guys, I've been rambling for quite some time. I think I'm going to call it there. Can you link Interactive Broker to Pro Real Time? I don't know if you can link Interactive Broker to Pro Real Time. Don't know. I'm not sure. Gotta ask them. Ask the live chat. Go on live chat, ask. But yeah, I'm out, guys. Any, aka the Noctrader, signing out.